If you're hearing this, it might be too late for me. I moved into my new house with high hopes. It was a quiet neighborhood, the kind where everyone knew each other and everything seemed picture perfect. Little did I know, darkness lurked right next door. It all began innocently enough. Peter, the man who moved in next to me, seemed like an ordinary guy. He was in his late 40s, had unkempt hair, and wore a friendly smile that masked any sinister intentions. Our interactions were brief and pleasant at first. He'd wave when I took out the trash or make small talk about the weather. But soon, things started to get unsettling. At first, it was the little things. I found my garden gate wide open in the mornings, even though I was certain I'd closed it the night before. My trash cans were frequently overturned, and sometimes I'd catch a fleeting glimpse of movement from the corner of my eye, only to turn and find nothing. I figured it was just the quirks of living in an old house. Peter's conversations began to take a weird turn. He'd ask about my daily schedule, when I left for work, and when I got home. He seemed overly interested in whether I lived alone. His questions were probing, invasive, but I didn't want to seem paranoid. I tried to convince myself he was just being friendly, albeit in a clumsy way. One night, as I was watching TV, I saw a shadow move across my living room window. I brushed it off as a trick of the light, but then it happened again. My curiosity turned into dread when I peeked through the curtains and saw Peter standing in his yard, staring directly at my house. When he saw me looking, he smiled and waved, as if this was completely normal. Determined to get to the bottom of this, I installed security cameras around my property. The footage they captured was chilling. Peter was creeping around my house in the middle of the night, peering into windows and standing motionless for hours, just watching. I felt a cold knot of fear in my stomach. Things escalated quickly after that. One night, I was jolted awake by the sound of tapping on my bedroom window. Heart pounding, I grabbed my phone and crept towards the window. There, inches from the glass, was Peter's face, twisted into a manic grin, eyes wide with madness. I stumbled back and dialed 911, my hands shaking. The police arrived swiftly, but by then, Peter was gone. I showed them the footage from my security cameras, but without any concrete evidence of a crime, they couldn't do much. They promised to keep an eye on him, but I knew that wasn't enough. The final straw came when I found a note slipped under my door. "I see you," it read in a scrawl. "You're never alone." I felt a surge of panic and called the police again, but their response was the same. Without more evidence, they couldn't arrest him. That night, I decided to stay with a friend. As I packed a bag, I heard footsteps on my porch. My heart raced as I grabbed a kitchen knife and crept towards the door. Peering through the peephole, I saw Peter standing there, holding something in his hand. He knocked softly and called my name. "I just want to talk," he said, his voice eerie and calm. I called the police again, whispering that Peter was on my porch. The minutes felt like hours until I finally heard sirens approaching. Peter didn't flinch when the police arrived. He just stood there, smiling, as they handcuffed him and led him away. The next day, the police searched Peter's house. What they found was beyond horrifying. His basement was a chamber of nightmares, walls covered in photographs of me, taken without my knowledge, documenting my every move. They found personal items that had gone missing from my home, along with detailed notes about my routines and even locks of my hair. But the most damning evidence was the collection of trophies from his previous victims. Peter had been a serial killer, moving from town to town, stalking and murdering people who lived alone. The police found journals detailing his grisly acts, and among them, plans for what he intended to do to me. Peter was charged with multiple counts of stalking, harassment, and murder. The evidence was overwhelming, and he was quickly convicted. The neighborhood was in shock, unable to comprehend how such evil could hide behind a friendly facade. Even though Peter is behind bars, it will take a long time for me to feel safe again. My once peaceful home is now a place of haunting memories. If you're hearing this, I hope my story serves as a warning. Trust your instincts and never ignore the small signs that something isn't right. The danger might be closer than you think.